Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a really tumultuous time in 16th century China. The Jiajing emperor's on the throne, but the national treasury, it's facing this massive, um, crippling deficit.
A huge problem, really threatening the stability of the state.
So to fix it, they roll out this truly drastic economic policy in Zhejiang province. It's called Lu, right? Race to mulberry.
Exactly. Converting vital rice paddies, I mean, the very basis of people's food supply, into mulberry fields for silk production.
Now you think, okay, silk means money, but transforming an entire region's economy overnight, it doesn't just, change a ledger, it brings immense human cost.
Oh, absolutely. An intense political drama. It's a high-stakes gamble, really. You have this economic necessity or perceived necessity colliding head-on with the actual lives of the people.
So today we're taking a deep dive into this really complex period. We're using our sources, including Whispers of the Heart, an anthology of Love's Echoes, to try to uncover the layers of intrigue, the desperate power plays, the moral dilemmas.
And the surprising actions of individuals just caught up in this unfolding crisis. It's fascinating stuff.
We'll see how this high-stakes governance clashes with personal integrity and, well, just how far people will actually go to survive or maybe even thrive when everything's on the line.
It's a really compelling look at the intricate web of power and influence in the Ming Dynasty. How decisions made way up in the imperial court ripple all the way down.
Right down to the humblest farmer, profoundly altering their lives.
Mm.
So let's set the scene. Zhejiang province, this is where the policy is meant to happen.
Huh.
We meet Governor Zheng Michang and Financial Commissioner He Maokai.
Right. These two are the point men on the ground, and they are under intense pressure from the capital. Beijing wants results.
Their careers, their reputations, maybe even their lives, kind of depend on pushing through this rice to mulberry policy. Replenish that treasury. It's a real pressure cooker for them.
It certainly is. They're squeezed between this, well, almost impossible mandate from Beijing and the very real suffering it's causing locally.
And this is where it hits its first major snag, isn't it?
Almost immediately. Because you get resistance. Principled resistance.
Yeah, contrast Yang and He with these two county magistrates, Hai Rui of Junin and Wang Yangji of Jiande.
These guys stand up. They directly oppose the policy because the terms are just incredibly unfair to the farmers.
Unfair is putting it mildly, right? They're being forced to sell their land for, what, a tiny fraction of its value.
Exactly. Like 10 to 8 stone of grain per moo. That's a unit of land when everyone knows that land is worth maybe 30, even 50 stone.
It's basically highway robbery dressed up as policy.
It is. And they're not just, generally complaining. They're pointing to the specific exploitative numbers, this huge discrepancy. It's stripping farmers of their livelihood for almost nothing.
So naturally, this puts them immediately at odds with the provincial bosses, Zhang and He.
Big time. It's direct defiance.
And this is where it gets really interesting, I think. He Maokai, the finance guy, he's frustrated. He just suggests, let's dismiss them. Get rid of Hai Rui and Wang Yangji. Simple.
Yeah, just remove the obstacle.
But then Zheng Michang, the governor, reveals something that just blows the whole local picture wide open. What does he say?
He reveals that Hai Rui and Wang Yangji aren't just some troublesome local officials. They're actually backed by Prince Yu in Beijing.
Prince Yu, a major player, right? A rising power.
A very serious player. And not only that, but the newly appointed prefect of Hangzhou, a guy named Gao Hanwen, he's a protege of the little Grand Secretary.
Yan Shifan, son of the hugely powerful Grand Secretary Yan Song.
The very same. So suddenly, this isn't just about land prices in Zhejiang.
No, it's a proxy war.
Exactly. A proxy battle between these massive political factions in the capital. You've got the established Yan faction versus Prince Yu's growing influence. The local stuff is just a stage for this bigger fight.
Wow. Okay, so the local officials, Zhang and He, they realize they're just pawns.
Pawns in a much larger game. That must have been a chilling realization.
Definitely. And speaking of pawns, let's talk about this Gao Hanwen, the new prefect of Hangzhou. He's also the Zhejiang Disaster Relief Commissioner. He sounds like, well, an idealist.
He really does. He's a scholar and intellectual, and he genuinely tries to find a better way. He proposes this idea.
Oh, you? Which means?
Basically, reform combined with relief, resolving both difficulties. He wants a balanced approach, save the state and save the people.
A noble goal, trying to square the circle.
He represents that well-intentioned official. Trying to find a humane solution within what he's about to discover is a deeply corrupt system. He sincerely believes he can fix both problems at once.
But then he gets a, shall we say, a rude awakening.
A brutal one. Enter Shen Yishi. He's a powerful silk merchant. Very well connected, deep ties to the Imperial Silk Bureau.
The Zizaoju. Okay.
And Shen Yishi basically pulls back the curtain for Gao. He shows him the real books, the accounting books.
And what do they show?
They show that most of Zizang's silk revenue, it isn't actually going to the national treasury to fix that deficit at all.
Where's it going then?
It's going directly into the imperial household's coffers and various officials' personal accounts.
So that's why the emperor seems so detached from the national deficit crisis.
Exactly. He's personally benefiting quite handsomely from the very system causing a problem. This revelation just shatters Gao's idealism. He sees the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
It's not about national recovery. It's about enriching the powerful.
A critical turning point for him. But it gets worse, doesn't it?
Oh, much worse. Shen Yishi and some others, they set an elaborate trap, a beauty trap, using a courtesan named Yunyang.
Okay, standard stuff maybe, but there's a twist here.
A big twist. Yunyang isn't just any courtesan. She's also a duishi, a special kind of companion, almost like a wife to a very powerful eunuch, Yang Jinshui.
Yang Jinshui, head of the Imperial Silk Bureau.
The very same, extremely influential. This duishi relationship was this kind of intimate, often secret bond within the palace system. It made Gao incredibly vulnerable once compromised.
So they compromise him using Yunyang. It's classic political blackmail.
Absolutely. Leverage personal vulnerability to force compliance. Gao goes from idealist to completely compromised overnight.
And the next morning, we see the fallout. It's devastating. Gao is basically forced to sign the decree implementing the policy, the very policy he opposed.
And the dialogue is chilling. Not a word changed from the original harsh decree. And then, sarcastically, two difficulties self-resolved. His own difficulties are now immense.
And there's that subtle moment, the final nail in the coffin. The tea server.
Yes. The server places a note beneath Gai's tea bowl. It's a threat against Yunyang. If he doesn't sign, she suffers.
That forces his hand. He signs. And then he just collapses from the strain.
Utterly crushed. It's the weight of his ideals being destroyed by this ruthless political machine. That tiny note under the teacup shows the hidden threats, the desperate measures being taken.
So with Gao Hanwen neutralized, the provincial guys, Zheng and he, they get bolder, or maybe more desperate. Mao Kai proposes something truly terrifying.
A really dark turn. He suggests orchestrating a false Sa Tongwo charge, collusion with Japanese pirates.
Framing innocent people.
Exactly. They plan to frame resisting farmers, like this guy Chidazu, who Hairui had actually released earlier, and a captured Japanese pirate in Noishizaburo.
And the goal is what? To justify cracking down.
Precisely. Use the fake charge to justify brutal suppression, kill the opposition, and force those land sales through. It's manufacturing an excuse for state-sponsored terror, essentially.
It's a horrifying escalation. How far will they go?
Well, we almost find out. There's this chilling execution scene set up in Shunan.
Oh.
Kadazu and Anuish Shizaburo are bound to a pyre, ready to be burned alive.
It's brutal.
But then who arrives?
Hairui, the principal magistrate.
He makes this dramatic entrance, and he refuses to proceed. He demands the proper case files, demands due process.
He cites the law.
He cites Ming law and declares famously, "I will never kill innocents indiscriminately."
Wow. Standing firm even then.
It's an incredible moment of moral courage. He exposes the huge gap between himself and these corrupt officials.
And he doesn't just stop at refusing, does he?
No, he goes further. He publicly challenges their authority, challenges the legitimacy of the charges. He points out the timeline for the report is impossible. They couldn't possibly have investigated properly.
And then he delivers that killer line.
Oh, yeah. Seguja! Which means, royal order flags can kill me, Hairui, but ultimately they cannot spare the prime culprits. It's a direct threat. He's saying, you might kill me, but the real villains behind this won't escape justice.
Electrifying. Speaking truth right to their faces. He's basically indicting them publicly.
It's pure defiance, asserting that justice transcends their immediate power.
But his actions have consequences, right?
Yeah.
His compassion, his defiance.
Immediate consequences. Wang Yangji, the other good magistrate, reveals the desperate situation. They have only 1 day of relief grain left. The people are starving.
So Hairui has to act.
He does. He forces the local county magistrate, this subservient guy, Tianyulu, to borrow grain from the wealthy families in the area. And Hairui personally guarantees it, saying, I will repay.
So he's combining his idealism with practical action,
Yeah.
trying to save lives right there and then.
Exactly. He's not just defying, he's providing, even putting himself on the line financially or at least reputationally.
Okay, so while all this chaos and defiance is happening in Zhejiang, let's zoom out back to Beijing. Remember, Zheng Micheng hinted that Hai Rui and Gao Hanwen had powerful backers?
Right, the Prince Yu connection, the Yan Shifan connection.
Well, in Beijing, we see the top players, Grand Secretaries Yansong the father and Zhu Ji.
Yeah.
And they're doing what?
They're engaged in this ritual of writing qingqi.
Yeah.
Qingqi. These are Taoist prayer texts for the emperor.
Which sounds kind of bizarre, like a spiritual sideshow while the country's burning.
It seems that way, but it's actually crucial. This isn't just religion. It's a secret channel for high-level political communication. It's how they talk, subtly.
So the prayers are actually coded messages.
In a way, yes. The emperor and his grand secretaries use these texts to send signals, test loyalties, manage affairs, without issuing blunt commands. It's this unique, almost mystical political culture under Jiajing, communication hidden in plain sight.
And we get some insight into Yan Song, the old powerful grand secretary. He's weary for...
Very weary. And he has these profound thoughts about power, loyalty, and he mentions the strength of the Xia-Tu bond, the master-disciple relationship. He says it's often stronger than father-son bonds.
Which is a pretty clear hint about his own son, isn't it? Yan Shifan, the little grand secretary.
Absolutely. He's basically saying his own son might be unreliable, driven by ambition, perhaps. He trusts his protégés more than his own blood. It shows his disillusionment, but also his shrewd understanding of power dynamics. He needs competence and loyalty, not just kinship.
And the emperor himself is using these kinji texts, subtly guiding things.
Yes, he keeps requesting texts focused on the character Zhen. It means chastity, integrity, constancy.
So he's signaling.
He's signaling to Yansong and Zhu Ji, use your loyal students, your trusted disciples, Hu Zongxian for Yansong, Zhao Zhenji for Zhu Ji, to sort out this mess in the southeast. Rely on integrity.
It's really indirect, isn't it?
Yeah.
But powerful.
Yeah.
He's not ordering, he's nudging.
Yeah.
Using symbolic language.
Exactly. Invoking Shou is his way of demanding integrity and directing them to rely on their most trustworthy people, especially now that the whiff of corruption is clearly reaching Beijing.
So through this veiled communication, an actual command emerges.
Yes. Yansong tells Zhu Ji directly, make sure Zhao Zhenji, who's the governor of Yingqian, a neighboring province, sends grain immediately to Hu Zongxian.
Hu Zongxian. Okay, who's he again?
He's the viceroy of Zhejiang and Fujian, a very capable official, former governor of Zhejiang, actually. And crucially, he was previously removed for opposing this very rice to mulberry policy.
Ah, so he saw this coming. And now he needs grain for Zhejiang. Urgently.
Desperately needed. This order cuts through the usual bureaucracy. It shows the crisis is now undeniable, even in Beijing.
So back to the ground level, we find Hu Zongxian, but he's ill.
Strategically ill, yes, it's a classic political move. Allows him to distance himself from the policy disaster he warned against, but keeps him in position to act when the moment is right. He's playing the long game.
He understands court politics, and then comes this amazing scene with the doctor.
Oh, Li Shizhen, the famous physician, he comes to examine the ill Hu Zongxian.
And his diagnosis is not exactly medical.
Not at all. Li Shizhen's prescription for Hu's illness is
100 boats of rice to be shipped immediately to Zhejiang for external application.
It's brilliant. The cure for the viceroy's illness is grain for the starving province. It highlights that the real sickness is political and social, not physical. The land itself is sick, and grain is the medicine.
Just fantastic symbolism. But getting the grain isn't easy, right? Zhao Zhenji, the governor who's supposed to send it.
He initially resists. He tells Hu, go, Kujan Bunyu in Beijing, meaning the political factions don't want me to lend grain to you.
Still playing politics, even with people starving.
It shows how deep the factionalism runs. They'd rather score points against each other than solve the crisis. Zhao's caught in the middle.
But Hu Zongxian isn't having it. He understands the game. How does he force the issue?
He demands the grain, but he reframes it, not as relief grain, but as Daojun Liang military grain.
Ah, clever. Why does that work?
Because he links it to national security. He warns about the Woku, the Japanese pirates. He says, Yusom chaos will invite external trouble. If Zhejiang collapses into chaos, the pirates will have a field day.
And nobody can argue against military necessity.
Exactly. No faction can openly oppose defending against pirates. It elevates the issue beyond political squabbling. This pressure forces Zhao Zhenji to comply. He has to acknowledge the critical danger, who's a strategic mind at work again.
Okay, so grain is finally on its way. But then another complication arises. Yang Jinshui, the powerful eunuch, head of the Silk Bureau, returns to Hangzhou.
Yes, the same eunuch whose Duishi companion Yunyang was used to trap Gao Hanwen.
And he discovers something alarming on the grain ships.
He sees lanterns bearing the insignia of the Izhou, the Imperial Silk Bureau, on the ships being used to buy up land with the grain.
Oh no, that directly links the Emperor's private money-making operation to the forced land grabs.
It's a disaster for the Emperor's reputation. It implies he sanctioned this exploitation. Yang Jinshui, as the Emperor's loyal servant, immediately sees the immense danger. Protecting the Emperor's image is his absolute priority.
So what does he do? He takes some pretty drastic action, right?
Very drastic and very symbolic. He finds out his own eunuchs took bribes from Shen Yishi, the silk merchant. So he makes them, Dao Yinzi, literally forces them to eat the silver banknotes they received.
Eat money. Seriously.
Yes! While saying outside food is poisonous, it's brutal, but it's a powerful visual. Loyalty means purity. No tainted money associated with the Emperor's household. It's about discipline and showing absolutely no personal gain from these corrupt dealings.
A terrifying display of loyalty, and he realizes the bigger picture.
He realizes dirty water is being splashed on the Emperor's face. The corruption is directly staining the Emperor's name.
This is his ultimate fear. It undermines the Emperor's legitimacy, the whole system.
Precisely. So he acts fast. He orders Gao Hanwen, the poor, compromised prefect, get those lanterns off the ships. Now, tell everyone the Imperial Silk Bureau hasn't used a single grain to buy land. Damage control.
And he bypasses the usual channels.
Completely. He sends an Balidiaji, an 800-li urgent dispatch, the fastest possible, directly to the Emperor in Beijing. No layers, no ministers, straight to the top.
He knows this needs the Emperor's immediate attention.
He's breaking protocol to save the Emperor's reputation, maybe even risking his own neck.
And this urgent report finally gets through the Emperor's, well, detachment. He's described as so reclusive.
Yes, obsessed with Taoism, immortality rituals, palace windows sealed even in summer heat, almost like a deity removed from worldly affairs.
But not totally removed.
Not totally. His detachment doesn't mean ignorance, just that information needs the right channel and the right framing to reach him.
And there's that tragic element to his health.
Right. Li Shizhen, the physician, had noticed it, and his chief eunuch, Lu Feng, confirms it. The Emperor shows signs of mercury poisoning.
From his immortality elixirs, presumably.
Most likely. Red eyes, bluish eye bags. Li Shizhen gave him maybe 3 to 5 years left.
Wow. That explains so much. His focus on the spiritual, his withdrawal. He's literally dying from trying to live forever.
It paints a picture of a monarch physically declining, increasingly reliant on his inner circle, maybe losing touch with reality, makes him vulnerable, but also perhaps more concerned with his legacy, his spiritual state.
And his chief eunuch, Lu Feng, knows how to approach him.
Masterfully. Lu Feng senses the Emperor still has a bodhisattva's compassionate heart. So he subtly informs him about Zhejiang, the abuses, linking it to the Emperor's own benevolence being defied. He frames it personally.
Appealing to his better nature, essentially.
Exactly, making it about the Emperor's compassion being violated rather than just administrative failure.
So between Lu Feng's careful words and Yang Jinshui's urgent report,
the Emperor's anger finally ignites. He reads the report, summons Yan Song, and makes a decision. He's sending the Jiniwei.
The Imperial Secret Police.
Yes, in plainclothes, Du Zhejiang, to investigate and arrest a few people.
That's a major escalation. Imperial intervention, bypassing the bureaucracy. Heads are going to roll.
It's a critical shift. The Emperor is now directly involved, and the secret police don't play nicely. The game has changed completely.
And as this imperial scrutiny begins, things really start to unravel down in Zhejiang. Let's look at Shen Yishi, the silk merchant. His endgame is quite theatrical.
Deeply enigmatic. He starts burning his possessions, valuable ancient musical instruments, his kin's personal belongings, like severing ties with his past, maybe purifying himself.
And then he has this final performance for Yin Yang, the courtesan,
Yes, a poignant drum performance,
mm,
unspoken emotions. Then he sets her free.
and gets on the grain ships.
Dressed lavishly, he orders his other courtesans to Feng release live fish into the river, a kind of twisted attempt at earning izai or spiritual merit. It shows his complex inner state grappling with guilt, maybe? Fate.
He gives a final poetry test.
Yeah, offers freedom to anyone who can identify the poem. Emphasizing fate, perhaps. He seems resigned, but also defiant in his own way, a complex character right to the end.
Meanwhile, back in Hangzhou, the officials Zhang Mishang and He Mokai know the writing's on the wall.
They're cornered. They realize the Jinniwei are coming, Hu Zongxian is coming, they're beyond saving.
So they make one last desperate move.
A final gamble. They order Gao Hanwen, still under their control, to go to Chunan immediately. His mission, detain Hairui.
Detain or eliminate.
Implicitly, yes, kill Hairui, then make sure those forced land sales are completed before Hu Zongxian arrives with the relief grain and Imperial authority, tie up all the loose ends, destroy the evidence, silence the main witness.
It's ruthless. A final act of desperation.
Utterly. They're willing to sacrifice Hairui to try and cover their tracks.
But there's still hope. Maybe. A secret message.
Yes. Wang Yangji, the other principled magistrate, Hairui's ally. He hasn't given up. He writes a secret letter.
Who does he send it to?
To Tanlun, who is Hu Zongxian's trusted subordinate, currently in Suzhou. Wang details the whole conspiracy, the false pirate charge, Gao Hanwen's entrapment.
How did he know about Gao's entrapment?
Remember the 2 server who passed the note? Apparently that information got out. Maybe the server talked. Wang puts it all in the letter.
Hoping Hu Zongxian can intervene.
Exactly. Hoping to expose the truth and rally support before Zheng and Ifrit, he can silence Hairui permanently. It's a last-ditch effort, relying on hidden communication, secret alliances, the power of truth traveling through whispers.
So, bringing this all together, what does it all mean? We've journeyed through this incredible moment, this web of power where, everything connects: a land sale, a poem, a secret note. It's all part of this huge political dance.
Yeah, the rice to mulberry policy, it started as supposedly an economic fix, but it became this crucible, didn't it? Testing everyone's integrity, exposing corruption, showing the devastating impact of top-down decisions on ordinary lives.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, what does it tell us?
Well, I think it shows that even within these systems of, absolute power, like the Ming court, individual choices still matter immensely. Whether you choose to comply or resist, like Hairui, or strategize like Hu Zongxian.
Or even operate within the system like Yang Jinshui.
Exactly. Their actions created ripples. They challenged the established order. It reminds us that agency exists, even when it seems impossible. People can and do make a difference, for better or worse.
It really raises that timeless question, doesn't it? When you're caught between the crushing demands of power, of the system, and that quiet call of your own conscience, how do you even measure the true cost of your action?
Mm-hmm. What price loyalty? What price integrity?
And what would you sacrifice, really, to stand for what you believe is right? Something to think about as you go about your day.